Hi there, my friend. Today I am going to be sharing with you how is it that I'm organizing my son's 7th grade ABEKA curriculum using the same system that I've been using for the past 3 years, and that is the binder method. Yes, 7th grade is laid out a little bit differently than K through 6. However, to me, the binder method still seems to be the most efficient and easiest way to organize the ABEKA curriculum, so that is less overwhelming for both us as parents and for our children. When I first was looking at the 7th grade curriculum, I did feel a tad overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my goodness, is my typical system still gonna work? How is it that we are going to do this? But I figured it out. I also have a freebie for you guys, so make sure to check that out. You're gonna see throughout the video that I share with you guys what that freebie is. I've done the work for you, so all you have to do is print it. It's absolutely free and use it as a tool. All right, 7th grade ABEKA organization, here we come. Great. So to set up our 7th grade binder, I'm going to be using this printable that I have created. You are welcome to go ahead and download it. I also went on the ABEKA website and I printed out their progress reports. You guys can get these on their websites completely free for whatever grades you're going to be working on. So I'll go ahead and link that also in the description below so that you guys can go ahead and grab those. So I have my progress reports for each one of the subjects, since in 7th grade is divided by subjects. So there's one progress report per subject, and then there are a total of 4 grading periods. This is what I'm going to be using to figure out where everything begins and everything ends for each quarter. I have a pen, I have sticky notes, and the books that I am going to be using. I'm not going to be ripping anything out of the World Atlas. Instead, I'm going to keep that as a whole book for my son to use as a resource or whenever he has to do his map activities. We're going to be looking at the student quizzes and test book. This year, there are no speed drill books, so instead it's just this. The grammar and composition quizzes and tests, the vocabulary, spelling, and poetry, the science activity book, the science quizzes, the test quizzes, the history of the world quizzes, the history of the world test, and I have the Up the People literature test with speed and comprehension quizzes. All of these are the student consumables. I also have a 1-inch binder. Since this year there are certain books that I'm not including in the binder, I do not need the 1.5 inch. Instead, I'm just opting for the 1 inch. And my son really likes to use these heavy duty ones that have like that D-ring on there. And I have these dividers that come with tabs and have folders in there because I am also going to be adding this thing right here, the progress report. My husband and I talked about it, and we are going to keep the progress report in the divider for each subject, so we all know kind of like what the grade is that he currently got. Instead of ripping anything out of these 2 workbooks, we are going to keep them together and he is just going to work out of them. Now, the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and grab this free printable that I have created. I have linked it in the description below, especially if you have multiple kids and you're just sitting and batching and doing everything at once. I'm going to put the grade, all right, and the subjects that I am going to be laying this out in. Now, you can swap these around as much as you'd like because you are going to tailor this to whatever is the whatever is the structure that you like your homeschooling day to look like. I'm going to look at my intermediate math progress report, okay? And on quarter 1, I noticed that the quiz number ends on 12. All right, so I'm going to put Q12. All right, I'm not gonna really worry about the lessons over here because I'm looking at the work that's going to go in the binder. And then the last test that he's going to take is test 3. When we look at our English, you're going to see that it's divided into different portions. For me, I am going to be placing the grammar and the vocab and the test in the binder. This area over here with the speed and comprehension quizzes and all this jazz is going to be in a completely different folder. So when I look over here for grammar, I am going to put quiz 6. Then for the English test over here, both of these things are in the exact same student consumable. So in this case, I'm going to put test 3. Then I'm going to come here where it says spelling and vocab. I'm going to look over here and I see that it ends the last assessment. Let's see, review quiz 1, quiz 7. I'm going to put Q7. And then for my literature, that's this part over here, I'm simply going to put Q3. So now I'm going to go in here and I am going to start tagging my workbooks. So the way I do this is that I tag my book for the entirety of the year. I typically don't tag for quarter 1 because quarter 1 starts on the first page, but I do tag the end of quarter 1 and I labeled that quarter 2 because that's when the second quarter is going to start. Okay, so for my math, I am going to need 1, 2, 3 tags. So quarter 2, quarter 3, Q3, Q4. Okay? Now I'm simply going to look for that last quiz and that last test. And since the quizzes and tests are here together, it'll just go after the last test. So I'm going to look here. And quiz 12 right there. Quiz 12 is right here. Okay. And the quarter exam test 3 is right there. So I'm simply going to put the sticky note right at the end of this. This lets me know when I'm ripping, this is my stopping point. Okay. This is where quarter 2 begins. Then I go ahead and I do the same for the next one, then the one after that, and the one after that. I want to organize this to be just like the grammar and the math one, where there's the quizzes and then the test that follows, quizzes, test that follow. So for that, and I also want to include some of the activity book in there. If you look at the activity book, it's divided by, you see these things over here where it says section 6.3 to 6.5. Those are the lessons that correlate with the workbook. If you look in here, you're going to notice it tells you the quiz number and then the section that it's in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to tag both workbooks by the quarter. When the time comes and I'm ripping them apart, I'm going to pepper in everything that goes through. Forget to mention this. You are also going to need a 3-hole puncher. I have had this one for the past 3 years. We're going through our 4th year of homeschooling and I use this thing a lot and it's still kicking and it's really good. If you're interested, I'll link it down in the description box below. The literature one, I'm going to start from here. I want the speed comprehension chart and I'm going to simply start. You're going to notice that the pages are perforated. Now these ones aren't like deeply perforated, but they're there. That's the part that we are going to be ripping these out through. And I'm only going to be ripping up until quarter 2. Okay. So for these type of books, I just like to give it a little help. here by starting to bend over the crease a little bit. And I'll rip like 2 or 3 at a time. See, and they come out pretty quickly. So I'm going to be stagger stacking these. This is how I like to keep it in the order that I want it in. So now that we are done with all of our tearing out, it's time to begin the hole punching. So the entire thing, this hole puncher will go through, okay? So I'm simply going to put the whole packet right there. There we go. Place it down. Make sure that you are hole punching on the right side, because I have done the whole, I'm speeding through everything. I get it done really quick. And then I realize that I hole punch on the wrong side. So that's why I make sure I face it towards me, especially like when I'm refilling and I'm just doing things without even thinking about it. So see how it says here, sections 1.1 to 1.4, sections 1.3 to 1.3, 1.1 to 1.3, chapter 1. The 1 is the chapter. The point 1 is the lesson. So I'm going to do quiz, activity, test. So the activity is done right before the test, and he has that review. Now let's look at the history, world history. Quiz 1 goes with 1.1 to 1.3, and then quiz 2, and then chapter 4 begins on quiz 3. So that means it's quiz 1, quiz 2, then test 1. Then we're gonna do quiz 3, quiz 4, and quiz 5, and quiz 6. And then it's gonna be test 2, because test 2 is chapters 4 through 5. Now I simply need to hole punch these guys like this, and bam, there is my social studies, or my history rather. And then the speed comprehension literature quizzes and tests and stuff. Staple that one, and then you guys can put it in wherever your order of the binder will be. This one is going into a separate folder, and I'll show you guys how I'm doing that in a little bit, so I'm gonna put it over here. So I got these binder dividers from Target. They come with a folder, and they are really nice and thick, and I really like that. So the way we are setting our binder up for our son is history last, math at the very beginning, or arithmetic. So I am going to take my first quarter progress reports, because we are going to be putting them in the folders. I'm going to start with this one first, then this one, then English, and finish it off with the mathematics. All right. So I'm going to take my, it should be my history, flop like a fish back here. All right, I'm gonna open this up, and I'm going to take all of my history stuff. I'm gonna feed it back here. I'm going to take my divider, put it in here like this, and I'm going to put the progress report right in that pocket. So as things get graded, they're also here. They're a nice glance. The World Atlas, I'm simply going to add it here into the binder. for whenever we need it. Now for our writing folder and our reading, I'm going to be using this right here. These folders are great. They last forever. They are just so durable. It's worth the $2 and something cents that they're on sale now for the back to school stuff. So for this, I'm going to put lit and writing. Okay. And this right here, I'm simply going to put in the middle over here. Now the reason why I'm not putting this in the binder is because this is what my son does with me when I come home from work. So I just want it to be something quickly accessible and separate from this. We're going to be composing essays and research papers and whatnot, and that way he can keep it right here. I'll talk about what the setup is going to be and how we are going to be doing things this year. Last year I started an interactive ELA notebook with my son. It's something that I used to do with my students at school, and I started it last year because concepts from last year he's going to be using this year, and I just want him to have a quick reference. That is what it looks like. That's the setup on that. Then I typically like to use these guys over here to keep all of our tests and quizzes stored. So I simply put that here. And then I used to use the other bin for, like, you know, the student consumables and the parent stuff. So instead this year, what we're going to do is, for right now, typically he'll be carrying these back and forth with my husband, but for the time being, I'm simply putting them in there so that we know where they are all at. And then I also have the answer keys for these guys that I'm going to be adding in here along with that, so that when it comes time for us to refer to it, we can do that. And there we go. We got our 7th grade year all set up. These are the test consumable, the parent answer keys, and here we have the history textbook, the science textbook, the vocabulary, the grammar and composition work text along with the math one. And then here we have the lit and writing folder, and then the binder with all of our assessments, quizzes, tests, and science activity and history atlas over here set up for the year. As an added bonus, I'm going to type this up for you guys, and I am going to put in the description link below both. I'm going to put the blank one for you guys to download if you wanted for whatever grade you're going to organize your ABEKA curriculum for, but I am also going to put in the filled in. I'll go in and type it up for you guys so you know exactly the quiz numbers, the test numbers, like where to go whenever you're sorting this out. I already did the work. I don't mind sharing this with you guys. So make sure to go ahead and grab this. It's going to be absolutely free in the description box below. I hope that this video has been helpful and beneficial to you. If you have enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, share a comment, and tell me what works for you. How is it that you set up your homeschooling system? How you make it work for your family. I always love hearing from you. And if you do happen to use the system in your home and you enjoy it, go ahead and tag this video onto your social media. You can tag @JoyfulJessie, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing homeschooling year. I'll see you next time. Bye.